Yo, what's going on? Happy Sunday evening. Happy 30th episode of the Execute Regardless podcast. Congrats to me, by the way. Fucking hell, we're doing all right. We made it to 30. An interesting fact I read the other day. To be in the top 1% of podcasters, you need to make it by 21 episodes. So we're not doing too bad. We got to 30. And you know what? I made a promise to myself that I would not compare, I would not deeply analyze how we're doing until we reach 1,000 episodes. So even if you look at that for a goal, 1,000 episodes, we're 3% of the way there. We're 3% of the way there. In fact, if we set a goal of 100 episodes, we'd be 30% of the way there. And just before we hop into today's topic, the interesting thing is when I made episode 1, I wanted it to be perfect. When I made episode 4, I wanted it to be perfect. When I made episode 10, I wanted it to be perfect. And every episode, I would feel I either got better. Some days I thought that I'd fuck up. And I can tell you this safely, fucking for sure, 30 episodes in, you are never going to get it perfect. You are never going to get it perfect. And you know what? If I had sat around waiting on perfect, if I had sat around waiting to perfect episode 4, episode 7, like I wanted to, we wouldn't be at episode 30. But isn't having 30 imperfect episodes better than having 4 what you deem to be perfect, but they're not even perfect? Isn't it better to just get fucking moving? Because we wouldn't be here today. And that's the interesting thing. A lot of us have so much value to give, whether it be perfect, whether it be not polished. You have value and you don't have to deliver it in a fucking gold gift box. People just want the value, right? So start swinging the bat. You might hit some. That's just a little reflection on how far we've got and dealing with that myself and just fucking uploading regardless. Now this week, by the way, I got my coffee. This week has been fucking crazy for me. This week has been crazy for Winners Win. In fact, it's probably been our biggest week to date. And I want to get into a conversation that I had with a client of ours, but this week's been crazy. In fact, we only got one episode up, which is a letdown, but I will put a disclaimer here. When things are quiet with me, our company, that is not because we're doing nothing. If you see me, you see our company, what we're doing, and things are quiet, you know something big is about to happen. So this week was phenomenal for us. Really fucking excited. You guys aren't going to believe what is to come. So just all I'll say is keep your eyes peeled in December for sure. I cannot wait to share. I'm not going to say much more on that. But yeah, when things are calm, know something big is coming. So to move on, this week's been fucking crazy. We're here. I could not upload an episode for myself and for you guys, for my own fucking sanity, because I love having these conversations with you. So we're here, it's Sunday afternoon, and we execute regardless. I'm tired. I was fucking hiking in the mountains today. I want to just chill in bed with Chloe. I want to just eat food. To be honest, I'm fucking wrecked. But you know what? It is what it is. I promise you guys and I promise myself. And that's the other thing as well. We always got to remember. The more we say things and then don't follow through, the more we give ourselves brain damage. The more you say, I'm going to do this, and then you don't do it, all you're doing is breaking trust with your brain. And it gets to the point eventually where your brain doesn't believe anything you say. The brain says, when you say you're going to go do something big, when you say you're going to go win whatever it is you're trying to win at, when you say you're going to go do something big, the brain doesn't believe you, and it says, this fucking con artist, he thinks we believe him, right? So there's often been times, I remember when I first started uploading to YouTube, I would promise to have a video out every Friday, and it'd be Thursday evening, and I was getting, nearly spilled my coffee. I I was getting accustomed to the whole editing and everything that kind of comes with YouTube. And there was multiple nights where I edited through the night on Thursdays just to deliver on my word, because I didn't want to break that trust that I've built up with my brain. And now it's got to the point with my brain where when I say something, when I say something, just as certain as the sun is coming up tomorrow, well, that's what my brain sees that's how my brain sees the task being done. Okay, and that's the level of trust that you want to build up to with your brain, and delivering on your word, delivering on your promises, to the point that when you say something, your brain already considers it done. Right? That's the level of trust that you got to build up, and that's why we're here. That's why we're uploading episode 30 today, even with all that said. But we're gonna knock this out of the park, and I want to talk about something. I had a conversation with a guy, in fact, a client of ours with Winners Win, was consulting with him, and we were talking about, he's a business owner. By the way, we don't just work with business owner. He just happens to own a business, and we're actually talking off topic, regardless of health, performance, all that type of stuff. We're talking about his business. Just giving him some advice, and he won't mind me sharing this. I know he's listening right now. I won't say he's over in Australia. He's probably asleep right now. But he won't mind me telling this story, because he can take one on the chin, and I know he's listening and he's learned from it now. But this guy, super dialed in anyways. We were talking about how he could improve his business on a personal level, me to him. And he's gone from making small amount of money to making a lot more money now, following the strategy that I proposed to him 2 to 3 months ago. So anyways, this guy is perfecting the strategy right now. And he tells me, hey, I signed a client the other day, $1,500 per month. He said, I'm so happy. Anyways, I'm like, amazing, bro. Like, this is class. $1,500 a month, one client. 2-3 months ago, you're telling me how you needed to fucking make money. So anyways, we continue. And then he says to me, oh my God. He said, oh, I have this other idea. I won't say what it was. I have this other idea. What's your thoughts on it? And he's telling me, right? He's telling me he wants to go sell something else. And I said, let's just call him Steve for now. I said, Steve, do you want my honest thoughts on whether you should do that or not? And I said to him, you've spent, right, the last couple of months not making anything. Now, you hit a home run. You've landed 2 clients now in the last month, both $1,500 a piece, right? So you've gone from 0 to $3,000 per month in 1 month. I said, you have a predictable strategy that I've given you after fucking 6.5 years of refining, right? Literally gave him the strategy. So it works. There's no guesswork. And I said, you hit the home run, you knock it out of the park, and now you're talking to me about going and doing something else and selling something else and asking me if I think it's a good idea. And I said to him, that's the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. I said, you literally have been working so fucking hard towards this one moment. You finally get it, and then you want to change direction and go somewhere else. I said, do you hear how fucking stupid that is? Here's what I said to him. And this is where I want to lead into the topic of today. I said, number one, it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He doesn't mind me saying that. I know he's listening. And we flesh it out, and he's staying on course. But I said, stupidest thing I've ever heard. I said, in fact, you do not deserve to win with the current business that you just cracked. I said, in fact, I can tell you this for sure. I said, with your mindset, the way you're going on, I said, you are going to get steamrolled. I said, you're going to get smoked. I said, because if you were coming up against someone like me, okay, when I was running outsourcecmo.com, I said, if you were running against someone like me, I said, you do not stand the chance. You want to know why? I said, because you're dabbling. You're half-assing. I said, you're not all in, and you're not fucking obsessed. And that's the key here. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about obsession. And I want to talk about the difference briefly between forced obsession and true obsession. And this is the decision I had to make. One sec. Just having some of my coffee before it goes cold. This is the decision I had to make. In fact, it was a decision that was made without having to apply conscious effort. It was a decision that I was subconsciously drove to, which was to go all in on Winners Win in 2022. And the reason, I think it was November 2022. Anyways, I made the decision to go all in on Winners Win. No, sorry, the idea came to my mind in October of 2022, and that was when it started seeding. And I made the decision then in 2023 to go all in. And I came to that naturally because I want to tell you something. From the moment I woke up, from the moment I went to sleep, I could not think about health, performance, discovering what's possible at 100%, and making elite performance possible for fucking everyone. Because I had this theory that we were born to be elite, but the system normalized average. And I'd proven this to myself and many other people that I'd consulted with throughout 2023. And I seen this, and I seen it to be true. And the more I went down this rabbit hole, the more I was consumed, and the more I was fucking fascinated. And eventually I became very, number one, knowledgeable. I became very knowledgeable, very competent, very skilled, and very fucking good at what I was doing. To the point where it just started compounding. When I woke up, I was like, fuck, man. Not only was I geeking out about the body and performance and health, but the business side of it, because I'm a marketer, and the whole thing, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I know now that is one of the things that will separate a winner from a loser. It's when you can't shut off, when you're truly obsessed, you cannot be beaten. You cannot be beaten. And I said this to him. I said, Steve, that's the difference. I said, when you come up against someone, let's say we're in the same industry. Let's say he's in the health and performance industry. You come up against someone like me and you're dabbling with what you're doing. You're doing okay, but you're kind of fiddling with this idea over here. And then you got someone like me, legit. Like from the moment I wake up, ask Chloe this, I have goosebumps on my arm. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep, I can't fucking stop thinking about it. So much so to the point where Chloe does have to say to me sometimes, she'll say, Callum, she's my business partner. She was like, I know you love this. I love it too. She's like, you do know, sometimes she has to remind me, you do know that I have my life as well. And sometimes she says to me, I actually can't talk about this as much as you because I have shit to focus on, right? And that's why I have to deploy my energy into this podcast or into my mastermind, etc. Right? Because the energy is just so fucking infectious. It just can't be stopped. Now, look at this. Let's say me and Steve are going head to head. Who do you think's going to win? Right? Someone who's like doing okay, thinks they're going to do good. And then you've got someone like me who's fucking all in, and every waking moment is spent on this one craft. Who's going to win? Clearly fucking me. The other person doesn't stand a chance. And what I call this is, I'm truly obsessed with what I do. I could talk to you for days, endless hours, about health and performance and marketing. Truly obsessed. And I want to tell you this, and I want to pose this to you. If you're not waking up this way, if you find it hard to shut off, like you're trying to, but you can't, even if you try, it doesn't go away, that's true obsession. And then there's forced obsession, which is what I practiced for years. I practiced forced obsession for a long time. And they're not even remotely close. In fact, one is idiotic. Idiotic is the best way to put it. I spent so many years pretending or trying to force myself to be obsessed. And all that does is two things. Number one, you're wasting your own time. And number two, you're inevitably going to lose, right? Because people who try forced obsession, you don't win. You can't force it. You can't force it. And I see so many people online. I see so many people giving advice talking about this. I fell victim to it for a very long time. And you try force yourself because you want to win. But I'm telling you, you're wasting your time if you're trying to force it. So to move on, if you know that forced obsession is not feasible to get the win, if you know that forced obsession is just a waste of time. And by the way, I spoke to Steve. He was like, Callum, he's like, that's why I invest money with you. He said to give me one on the chin. Glad you said it. And he's staying on course. And I said to him, I said, you need to become obsessed with this one thing. You need to become so fucking good at this one thing that you can't stop thinking about it. And that's what I would say. I would say on a macro level, look at what you're good at, right? Usually it will be a passion, but look at what you're good at and become the fucking best at it. Because when you're the best at something, okay, you tend to become obsessed, right? Because being the best at something is amazing. So that's the first thing. And I have some notes here. I wanted to explain what it is, what it's not. Mistakes, okay? Mistakes people make. The biggest one is telling yourself you're obsessed when really you're not. And spending time going down that avenue, wasting 2 or 3 years of your life only to move on to the next thing, okay? What I would say is, in order to find out if you're obsessed, if this is the right thing to keep channeling your energy into, okay, what I would do is, that's actually interesting. I would figure out, and I said this to Steve, I said, I would figure out, number one, why you're doing this. So where you are, where you want to go, why you're doing this, most importantly. And you're going to say something, if you're in the business space, you're going to say to make money. Okay, and then ask yourself, why do you want to make money? And keep going down that rabbit hole of asking why until you hit an emotion. And get clear on the why, okay? Because it's more important, because that's what's going to keep you going from point A to point B when shit gets hard, is the why. So I would say get clear on why it is you're really doing it, okay? And then once you get clear on the why, I would ask yourself, am I actually good at this, right? Am I good at this? Could I become the best at this? And how long will the payoff take? So let's say, for example, you know that what you're trying to achieve is going to take 15 months, and you get very clear on the timeline of progression. I would then ask yourself, number one, do I feel like I could sit down and problem solve and figure out the fundamentals of this game that I'm looking to play, first of all? And then secondly, if shit gets hard and I actually have to go the full 16 months without seeing any signs of progress, would I be able to hold the line? And I know for a fact with what I'm doing this until the day I fucking die, regardless whether it goes major, which it will, regardless of whether it doesn't. This is what I'm doing. And I'm going to be the fucking best at it, regardless, right? And that's what I would get clear on. And there has to be real purpose behind it. Some of what I'm saying here, you got to be purpose driven. Okay, you got to make sure that you've got an intention. That's the word I'm looking for. You got to make sure that you've got an intention with what you're doing, and that it truly brings you joy. That's the big thing about purpose is, does this actually bring you an ROI beyond money or beyond what it is you're doing? If you're in the business space, your career, whatever it is, does this bring the ROI of joy? That's super important, because when you're getting joy from something, when you're actually just like, you know what, man, I'm happy doing this regardless of whether I get paid, regardless of whether I don't, regardless of whether I get paid, I don't get paid, regardless of who comes into the market, whatever way the public opinion sways, bro, I just love doing this. If you're not answering that question with a fuck yeah, it ain't for you. It ain't for you. And there's consequences. The consequences of not doing that is wasted time, wasted effort, wasted energy, wasted resources, The big one being time that you're never going to get back, and the people who invest in you and how you're going to let them down, and you're going to become the person essentially who's all talk. You're always talking about doing something, but nothing ever happens. And that's the last thing that I want to happen to you, because that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me when I wasn't clear on what I spoke about, and I didn't get that exhilarating feeling of like, fuck yeah, that's the thing that I love doing. That's the thing that I could talk about effortlessly. Like, these are the questions you got to ask yourself. Can you talk about this effortlessly on a Saturday night, right? Does it consume your brain and you just almost to the point where people think you're insane, right? If you don't have people thinking you're insane, if you don't have people giving you a disclaimer, you're like, oh, this is my friend Callum. By the way, before you meet him, I need to let you know, if you're going to talk about health or you're going to talk about marketing, just know you're in for it, right? Like, if you don't have that about you, if you don't have a disclaimer, it means you're not obsessed. So that's kind of like a gauge whether to know whether you're obsessed or not, is if your friends don't have a disclaimer about you. Because my friends, I know for sure, have a disclaimer when it comes to me, right? Because I'm so all in. I'm so fucking obsessed. You bring something up, we're going there, right? So that's a way to gauge. And the big benefit of this, the big benefit of doing what I just said and practicing this and going all in is, number one, you can win so fucking big. First of all, when I went all in, when I became truly obsessed on a fundamental level with what it is I was doing, and then became the best at it, number one, you always win big. Number two, it's impossible to lose. It's impossible to lose. How the fuck can you beat someone who's just consumed with every fucking waking second? You can't beat them. Think about it. You can't beat them. This person is willing to go to places that you're not willing, that others aren't willing to go. This person is willing to go to places that others aren't willing to go, willing to do things that others aren't willing to do. I'm willing to walk to China, right? I'm willing to walk to China, do fucking 50 laps of the Great Wall and come back here to Ireland if that's what it meant to win, to keep doing what I'm doing right now. I would actually do that. I do not give a fuck, right? Because I'm obsessed. So you win big. Number three, if not, this should be number one. You get the biggest ROI of all, which is joy. That's the most important thing, right? That you're fucking happy, right? That you get to the end of your life and you don't have to wonder what could have been. You know what, man? I'm fucking happy the way I live my life, right? So it's very important that you digest what I'm saying here. Went through the gauge of knowing. And I have here wrote down how many people are like this. I believe 90% of people. I very rarely, like, in fact, I would say 95% of people are practicing forced obsession. I believe most people are not truly obsessed with what they do, because the amount of people I've been exposed to who say they're obsessed with business or health or whatever, and then when I'm like, oh my god, we're the same, when I talk to them, like, oh yeah, I can tell you're like, I don't say this, but I'm like, I know that this person is just trying to force something, because number one, they don't geek out the way I do. Like, I always have to, when I'm talking to people, I always have to say, oh my god, I hope I'm not rambling, by the way. I always say to them, apologies for rambling. If you ever talk to me in person, you'll notice I'll always kind of add that, because I just geek out. I can't, like, literally, I can't be stopped. I can't be stopped from talking on the subject. So I reckon most people are practicing this. So that means if you're listening to this, whatever it is you're doing, you more than likely are practicing forced obsession. And in fact, you may not even be practicing forced obsession. You may not be obsessed, but now you know how to gauge that. And essentially, forced obsession in my eyes is like trying to win a swimming race, jumping into the pool and having boulders tied around your ankles. It's like practicing forced obsession is like jumping into a swimming pool, but you're trying to win the race with boulders tied around your ankles. It makes no fucking sense, right? You're doomed from the start, so you might as well just, not swim. And that's my outlook. So, anyways, listen, episode 30, digest this. We're coming back next week with 2, right? And with a fucking massive announcement, a gift for you in December. My Christmas present to you, because I love you. Right, so stay with me this week as maybe a 30th episode gift. Smash the 5-star button, smash the like button, whatever you listen to this on, and let's just keep rolling. Let's just keep rolling forward. I appreciate the fuck out of you. And remember, the only difference between winning and losing is your ability to execute regardless, to stay on course, stay in the game, do what you know needs to be done regardless of how you feel. You're gonna fucking win. It's that simple, right? If nobody says they believe in you, doesn't matter. All you need to do is believe in yourself, and I fucking believe in you if you didn't know that already. But until next time, let's fucking go. Keep it 100%.